there's a good English word for tsaros. Let's see, how do they translate tsaros here? No. Let's see, what do they say here? Misfortune. Misfortune kind of, I feel like, makes it sound like it's all haphazard, you know? I don't like that word. Let's see, what do they say here?
Deliberate suffering.
Let's see. Tsaros. They use misfortune. Yeah. Anyway, tsaros. We're just going to translate it as tsaros. There we go. That's right. Sheyamdu kechayma lefanav, that will stand like a wall before him. V'yafsiku beinayu bein hashleimus, and they will stand as a barrier between him and perfection. Ad, until it gets to a point, sheyitztarech layaser amal v'yaser tayrach. He will require more strength and more work and more toil. Livkaya as a mechitzahi, to break down this wall. And to deal with all of the difficulties involved, to persevere and achieve perfection. So, what it's saying is that there will be times that Hashem will make a decision that this person, based on his actions, should be given the easy road. Just given the easy route, right to perfection. Everything will go smooth, everything will go easy. He'll get hooked up with all the right people, and the distractions won't be there anymore, and all the things that had pulled him in the wrong direction will disappear, and everything will be good. That's all possible to be. Or, might be the opposite. You might have somebody who it's decided that he needs to have a difficult battle, an uphill battle with all sorts of obstacles, and all the things that are pulling in the wrong direction are present as ever, and it's a battle every step of the way. And every person is going to be judged differently for what is the best for them for achieving their greatness. The hafech zel rasha, and the opposite of this is true for the wicked person. It's possible that he will be decreed to have success, so that the ways of destruction, of his being lost, will be open for him and available. Or you might have somebody who will have difficulties, will have tough things going on, and tsaros, in order to prevent him from continuing on this path of wickedness, that was in his plan to continue doing. And this could happen when Hashem, who is the ultimate director, that this wickedness shouldn't happen for whatever reason. So you have a guy who's got some diabolical plan to do something terrible, and he wakes up sick and can't pull it off. So how does that happen? It's because Hashem says, look, today's not that person's day. It's not the day for your victims to be victimized. And it's just not going to work. It's not going to happen, right? So these things will be decided by Hashem. And this is what David prayed about when he said, Al titin Hashem avayirasha zimame al tafek. Hashem, do not give the ways or the wants, the desires of the wicked. Don't give them to them, and don't allow their scheming to come to fruition. So what we're saying is that you can't tell by looking at a situation, you can't tell why it's going the way it's going. A person might have hardship because they're being good, or a person might be having hardship because they're being bad. There's no set system. I mean, there is a set system, but it's not something that we can understand. It's not the kind of thing that has an overt, ID on it that you can tell, oh, this is because of this or that's because of that. It's not the way it goes, because there's always so many things that are involved, so many different aspects to each decision, and Hashem decides sometimes this person needs to get some easy straights, and sometimes the same person or somebody else needs to get something much more difficult, and it's all up in the air. There's so many different ways for these things to happen and for them to come to fruition. Okay. All right, let's continue. V'hinei.
Mine too. Mine does too.
Fine, so does mine. V'amnam. All of these things Hashem does with his wondrous wisdom, obviously way beyond anything we could ever understand. Everything in order to achieve the goodness and the plan, the goal of all of creation, as we've explained, and for each one individually. And Hashem judges each of his creations individually in every situation, based on what they truly are. Perish, meaning, because you can't compare someone who is in an easy place, things are going well, there's very little challenge, and that person still doesn't fulfill their responsibilities. You cannot compare that to me, to somebody who is in a tough spot. And he is just under tremendous pressure. And because of that, he doesn't fulfill his responsibilities. You can't compare the two. Somebody who's got it easy and doesn't do it is obviously much, much worse than somebody who has it hard and doesn't do it. And sometimes the reason something is very hard is because Hashem doesn't want to hold us that responsible. Hashem might give us a huge challenge, and if you don't pass the huge challenge, all right, that was a tough one. But Hashem gives us a really simple thing that's barely a challenge, and we don't do it. That's bad news. So, a simple example. So many people throughout their lives come to points where they feel like they want to grow. They want to make progress. They want to make some change. And they want to accept something upon themselves as the first step of that change. And people take these huge things on themselves, the very difficult things, and they say, okay, that's it. From now on, I'm never eating non-kosher again. You're talking about huge life-changing challenges. Those are not the first things to focus on. The first thing to focus on are the easy things. How about once a week? Right? Just something easy, because if you don't do the easy things, that's much worse than not doing the hard things, like we're saying over here. So taking on the simple things is much more powerful, because that's what you're held the most accountable for not doing. Come on, this is easy. And so many people look at it the opposite. They're like, oh, the little things don't matter so much. It's the big things that I got to really work on. That's not the right approach. Work on the easy things, get those, and you'll see, like we're saying over here, your actions can hopefully lead to making it easier and easier. So keep it going.
It can be called setting yourself up for success. That's how we talked about it at Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
And so, when you talk about setting your goal for the week, you don't say, I'm going to start training for a marathon. You say, okay, maybe 2 days this week I'll get out for a 15-minute walk. You set it up so you can attain it, so you can do it.
Right. So that's not even what I'm talking about. Oh. What you're talking about is absolutely correct. I'm saying even another calculation to that is that if you can't do the 15-minute walk, that looks much worse than if you can't do the marathon. So if I'm
wanting to do it,
meaning right, so meaning to say that what he's saying over here is that if a person has the easier time to do something and they don't do it, that's much more of a I'm ignoring Hashem than if someone has a very difficult time to do something and they don't do it.
They think that doing that harder thing is worth more to Hashem than doing the little things.
Correct.
They ignore the little things.
Exactly.
When in fact,
it's
just important, especially at where you're at.
It's more important. Because if from Hashem's view, If Hashem is looking at someone and saying, okay, I've given you something really easy that you can do in a second, I've given you something really difficult that's going to take a tremendous amount of self-sacrifice, and you don't do either of them, which one's are you going to be more upset about? The easy one. Come on, it took 2 seconds and you didn't do it? That means you don't care at all. So that's the element I'm bringing out over here. It's that what you're saying is correct. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that Hashem gives people an easy time, and He says you can't compare someone who has an easy time and still doesn't fulfill their responsibilities to someone who has a very hard time and they don't fulfill their responsibilities. Much more accountable. So their judgments are not going to be the same. They're not going to be equal. Each one will be judged based on the way it is in truth. Whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. Whether it's against his will or it's fully by his own choice. And Hashem alone knows the truth of all of these things. All the actions, all of the thoughts, and only Hashem can judge them based on taking all of that into account. Okay, so this is there's a lot of examples of this and things I don't think we need to get into. I think it's pretty self-explanatory over here. But the system that he's explaining to us is that Hashem sometimes makes things easy and He sometimes makes things hard. Whatever you do, pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on. It's all by design. Hashem is not just letting life play itself out. Every single thing is done with design, with purpose, and intentionally, with precision. Make sure you're paying attention and try your best to stay on track. All right? See everybody next week. And maybe even sooner. I'm not telling you where we ended, no. Because that was literally 4 seconds ago. I'm not giving you that. Sorry.
I have a picture.